apparently they're saying there's a delay with the launch, so hopefully that is still going to happen. They were told there's not to be a delay. Okay, so um, unfortunately, the news would report to us if there was a more severe issue than people having some vomiting and diarrhea. It's have another launch today, and then they'll have a period of recovery. Your president told you December, and you still have not housed me and the rest of the homeless people that are hostages, and I still don't have Social Security to leave the area. Okay. So obviously, you also know about the myriad of problems that you're having that you cannot solve because you have brain disease. Okay, so in order to prevent political starvation, but if you feel that you understand some of those concepts, then you would have given me housing and a means to, or I'd still have to have a means to live with housing or a means to just leave this area. You can't keep people literal hostages in these areas with the DTA cash. You were told that. Okay, so another aspect is you're not supposed to be holding us hostage on purpose. You really not. Okay, in terms of you're somehow getting rid of other people or something. Okay, so if you could stop that. Also, it's not shutting down. Okay, that should make sense, but for some reason, when the brain gets sick, you don't shut it down by keeping me hostage. So if that was your goal, and then to live out the rest of your life course and not have these sort of uncomfortable times and have a more lengthy life in the natural extinction that God is doing, then you would stop keeping me hostage in the other hostages. Okay, so there's some disconnect going on, and it could be part of the artin that God has you in, where you believe that that's the final solution. Is that everybody has to be nuked because you can't just stop holding hostages and stop breeding. And obviously, Almighty God will make people infertile if they're ready to understand about the hostages and God in Passover. Then they're able to understand about the losing fertility and not continuing to kidnap other people's children. That should make sense if you still have enough brain matter. Okay. If people are able to come out of a denial and they can understand the Passover and that it is an extinction, okay, um, then they can understand God making them infertile. I'm not even sure they'd have to agree to stop breeding, but that they would understand not producing any children and not kidnapping other people's children because they would know what's going on. Okay. Because clearly something spurred a population to start stealing houses like trees and people's children. So if you again forgot or didn't know that was going on right in your own country, it was. Okay. These people had to be flooded with money. People had to agree to leave their homes, the ones that didn't keep getting lawyers and stuff. Okay, and you saw what the result of that became, what they did to Barbara Kent. Okay, and if right, it threatened to put you in a nursing home, sick DCF on you, take your children from you, um, report you to animal control, and if all of those things don't work, if a court won't force you out and the police won't force you out, they literally go into your homes attacking you. That's exactly what happened, and we had to leave. The police suggested we leave because the court already told these people to stop trying to evict us. The president of the United States at the time had an executive order to halt evictions on people if they were going to end up in a shelter or street homeless. And that's exactly what happened to me. And they wouldn't stop doing it. So the police told us to leave. Not, they didn't come and kick us out. When Tom spoke with them after I flipped out at the train station, that's when all that happened. A person was literally coming into the house. They shut off all my communications and your food card, and then they literally attack you. Okay, that is exactly what happened. Okay, right, and just the police went, yeah, just in denim. The court told them to stop. Joe Biden told them to stop, and they wouldn't stop. That's exactly okay. So if you sort of were in some kind of protective delusion about what exactly has been going on, I just explained it to you again. Why it's not a secret. It has been on the TV, and then also they want a war. There's too many of them, and they're very aggressive. So, anyways, a lot of them have been flooded with money put into things that they're doing where they're all rich and famous and own businesses and doing all the stuff in their importance. As we, if you forgot, we saw that in 2020. They were even told they were congressmen and women and stuff, and they got to give speeches and all that. They got to name streets after themselves. They went and changed all these street names to people from their, they believe, are their ethnicity. They look like them. So, um, yeah, it's pretty spooky. But anyways, um, I think the phone rang. I went over to them about Brian's phone and his Facebook pages. Okay, so and no, nothing still. And I called the phone at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I just called it and left a voicemail. Okay, so like I said, the phone is charged, it's on, and my number isn't blocked, and he's not picking up the phone or returning texts. I didn't send like 20,000 texts, which probably seemed disturbing to him at first, right? And then he didn't like all those posts on Facebook. I wonder if he thought that he was supposed to respond to them. Um, do I go in a rapid fire talking like that when we're together? No, I don't. So that's why you were told to stop running off. Right? Anyways, if he's ever eventually gonna get it, and I explained it, if he is outside and he's able to listen to this, okay, you've done the same thing 2 years in a row, Brian. Okay, so it's like coming to terms with having a mental condition that you probably maybe weren't aware of. Right? I went over this with the other people. They kept doing a repeating pattern. Brian, it happened 3 years in a row, where they would um, put me somewhere. Father Bill's the first year they put me in a room in Quincy. The next year they put me in a hotel um, in Dorchester. And then wasn't there a third year of it where they attempted to do it? Okay. Um, on the same exact date, I can't make this stuff up, Brian. December 23rd, and 3 weeks later, they literally forced me out. They won't stop, like, bothering me and attacking me. There's no way it's me when they do it in a sequence like that. I think by the second year, when they did it at the hotel in Dorchester, everyone knew how insane they were, that they were clearly doing it purposely, and they thought it served a purpose, like a holiday. Okay. And I'm pretty sure there was a third time of it, but maybe the date was off when they were forcing me out of the house. But it was always December 23rd, and then week of January they had me out. It was bizarre. The guy that came storming into the house in Devon, he goes, "This is an eviction," and all of a sudden he said, "This is an eviction." I mean, an eviction. He would just come right in the door. He wouldn't knock on it or anything. He'd walk right in the front door, and I was upstairs, and he'd go, at first he wouldn't say anything, but like my nephew was there, and I'd hear my nephew go, "Can I help you with something?" Like literally, there's someone in the downstairs hall, and he goes, "Oh yeah, Barbara Katana." He just made up what he was doing, and it's like they're not here. Oh, well, this is an eviction, and he wouldn't stop doing it. It was like getting weird, like he was just gonna walk in the house and start raping people and stuff, like a literal monkey. I cannot make it up. That's why the cops said, I mean, in another time and space, can you imagine a person just walking into your house repeatedly like that? You just close the door behind them, and that person's never seen again. But Tommy and Barbara and Jared and I are not murderers. But clearly, someone could do that, especially in Florida. It's stand your ground laws. But anyway, that's prevented by people just leaving in Florida, because otherwise you would have had some trouble down there that no one wants. Once wars like that start, when you break out of everybody is not doing laws in the United States anymore, you're attacking cops and stuff, no one wants that. But I think they hoped not to have to just drop a bomb like they did in Japan and just level the place. Right? They're hoping that this must have been the plan when this was set up, that they become so disabled that they can't keep working. And then eventually they won't be able to drive, which becomes an issue. So we're hoping, especially the people running these medical facilities, they have a higher, right? So they become disabled faster than other people do. Right? The more education you have and the higher skill the job is, the faster it is till you can't work anymore. Okay, so no offense, and it doesn't mean you're dumb, but people can still run grocery stores and possibly still be able to drive. Okay, but we can't be like doctors. They can still run the tea, they can still drive buses. Okay, food can still get transported. It's just what to do about the landlords. I know that's a problem, but you would hope um, if they're medically sick and they were being kept alive by the medical community, they can't treat them anymore. Okay. Or they would get a clue at that point and stop it. So, anyways, so Brian, you're on a thing, and it's also about another group of people, like the medical community, the detox people, people that are giving you drugs and alcohol and taking you to their place to party and whatever the hell's going on there. They won't stop offering you housing separate from me, and also the thing about your genetic family. That could matter to other people. Okay. Um, if true that they actually contacted you again, you really need to stop talking to them. Like, I would have to stop talking to you if you don't stop talking to them. Okay? Because it's definitely like the foster. They're literally, what happens, Brian, is God will make things so obvious, right? That it's so that you can understand yourself and why you're having these problems. That's what He does. So, right, just bizarre things that seem bizarre and hurtful, but it's explaining to you your life and why you have the problems you have. Okay, where you're running away, um, I'm not sure. Maybe you were kicked out. I'm not sure if you were really. And the thing becomes, Brian, were you really running away to abuse, or you were running away because you were being abused? Right? I mean, it really sounds to me like you were being abused when you were running away. And then maybe you were using when you were running away, or that's just the adult part. And then maybe you were preyed upon when you ran away too, or abusers were sort of going back and forth with you. I don't think you were just running away. I remember you saying something once about DCF found you because you ran away or something. I don't think you were just running away. No, something was causing you to do that. So, anyways, and then I also believe that every time that you would you would you're doing things purposely, like you're sick or you need help to get attention, okay? But because of the attachment disorder, if you read the thing about attachment disorder with the central figure, okay, because it's hopefully it's a barrier that you have to go through, and you have to stop running away, and you have to stop using. You have to allow allow yourself to, and you need to fight that urge to just decide you're too fucked up, disgusted with me. Um, you go into some sort of a mode with this other stuff where you don't give a shit and you just, right, it's like you just go like that with a thing like, what was it? Deal with it and stuff. You gotta stop doing that. You gotta stop doing that. So, anyways, yeah, some of it seems childish. Yes, you've been on medication for a long time, yeah, and clearly not getting proper mental health care. And some of it sounds like your family. Okay, um, making if they have paranoid thinking or they're worried about you revealing abuses or things they don't want to go over themselves because they're not in recovery. Um, right, they're telling you to be afraid to go to an event with your wife's family. My mother died. Right, if they actually told you as an adult married man that's been you've been together for 2.5 years, we've been married for a year and a half. If they told you not to attend my mother's wake and funeral, I think that you should really consider not talking to them anymore. Especially after what happened with the head injury, and they actually showed up at the hospital and didn't notify me. They made no attempt to notify me, Brian, family. And then when I'm there, because you wake up and demand I be called, that is what I was told by the nurses, if you forgot. That as soon as you woke up, you demanded to call me. You didn't demand to call your mother or Denise or anybody else. You demanded to call me. And then you asked me repeatedly to please go there. Okay. So I was told by the nurse that your mother and your brother and your aunt had been there. And they never came back again, Brian. Okay, so that's not normal. And then I you were asked repeatedly by the nurses and stuff in front of me if they ever came back, and um, you said you spoke with Marie. I think it's better to call her Marie instead of your mother. Okay, that you spoke with Marie, your biological mother, and that she was supposed to come and visit you, and that she literally said, "I'll be there shortly," and never showed up. I mean, really? You were still confined to a bed. You weren't even at Spalding yet. I was there every single day. Okay, so I mean, at some point in time, you go, "What are you on that I can't live with my wife? This woman has been taking care of me. You don't let me go to your place. Why are you even contacting me again?" That's why I said what I said. Sometimes someone has to say it, Ryan. If they actually told you that, then they're all insane. Do you understand what I'm saying? They'd rather have you with no one at Mass General and Spalding and no one to take you out of there and take care of you than for you to be with me and bond to me. But yet they're not around to bond to you. It's absolutely sickening. I I thought my family would have some problems. We have a lot of problems because it's been my mother lived a very long life and we had a lot of things in the past, but we really don't have stuff like that. I don't know of any person in the family that literally has never been able to return to somebody's housing, at least briefly. Okay, I don't know anybody in my family doing that. Okay, so that's one example. Um, they don't really, I don't think anybody in my family's had children in foster care. That's no, I don't want to get too personal, Pat. I think an instance of someone with family member had them for a while, and then they went back to their parents. Yeah, we don't have any of that going on. So, yeah, and clearly some people made a severe effort to try to sort of break certain cycles of dysfunction and stuff. They really have. So clearly, if that's true that they contacted you, I don't know if you called them or what you said to them or something, but every other person usually tells you to call them and stuff, so it's a little bit concerning. And it's not a little bit concerning; it's major concerning. Uh, she should have put the phone on silent, but she